Ruth Richardson era.
Very good.
I recognise the honourable member, Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Now I rise to take a brief call on clauses 1 and 2 of this bill as it proceeds under urgency through its select committee, through its committee stages, I should say. I really do want to contest, again, the title of this bill, because really what this bill does is it creates uncertainty about one of the most basic social needs that people have, and that's that very human need to have a good house, a good roof over your head. And so, Mr Chair, the idea that this is somehow reforming social housing really is a misnomer. It is, in fact, actually taking away that very notion that I think was a proud tradition that was started, in fact, by a Labour government. Started by a Labour government about social security. That idea that people, no matter what circumstances might befall them, would actually have the support of the state from the cradle to the grave. And from the cradle to the grave was actually a statement made famous by Michael Joseph Savage, and that was around the idea of social security. And in fact, probably one of the most demonstrable images of social security and what Michael Joseph Savage meant when he talked about security from the cradle to the grave was actually around housing. Those images of the first state houses, of furniture being moved into those first state houses, is in fact being lost sight of by this government, because it doesn't seem to understand the importance of security in that phrase around social security. Because here they are pushing in urgency a piece of legislation through that actually makes housing certainty so much less certain for some of the most vulnerable in our society. And the thing that I find deeply offensive about this is that, yes, it is the elderly, it is those people who live with disabilities, and it is children who will suffer as a result of not having this security around this most fundamental of needs. So it's not just a little bit of reform, or the name of this bill in brackets is Housing Restructuring and Tenancy Matters Amendment Bill. Why don't they say what they really mean? Why don't they say tenancy and security? Why don't they say reviewable tenancy, instead of hiding it and disguising it under this general phrase of tenancy matters? Because it sounds quite benign, Mr Chair, but of course, as this side of the House has very ably demonstrated through the course of this debate, it is not benign at all. It is an active act by the state to give insecurity of tenancy to those who are the most vulnerable in our society. So, Mr Chair, if the government was going to be upfront about what this bill was about, then it would actually it would have the words insecurity in the title of this bill. It would have the phrase vulnerability in the title of this bill. It wouldn't dare use such benign words as reform. Although I suppose those of us who learnt to understand what the phrase reform meant back in the days of Ruth Richardson et al. Probably do quiver whenever we see those words. Whenever we see the words reform. I think Bill Birch used it as well, actually. You know, he was going to just reform the labour market. It was, just this benign thing, reform. But of course, what everyone came to understand about that was that their wages got cut. That's what reform meant. And so in this context, what reform means is that people's security of tenancy is cut. That they can no longer rely on knowing that their children will continue to be able to go to the local neighbourhood school, because if their circumstances change, then they will be moved on. And I want to just reiterate what my colleague Moana Maki said. What about the good old relationship style model of having the Housing New Zealand staff who used to negotiate this through with people? Instead of having an 0800 number that people can never get through to, where people's calls are never returned, and the faceless bureaucracy of Housing New Zealand.
Claudette Howiti.
I move that the question be now put.
The question is that the question be now put. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
ACT New
1
Zealand.
vote in favour.
United
1
Future.
vote in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 56. The question will be put. The question is, a clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no.
No.
The ayes have it.
No, party
ayes
vote.
have it.
Party votes called
Chair.
for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
1 vote
Mana.
opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 56. Clause 1 will stand part. Members, we now move to Clause 2. First, we have the Minister's amendments as set out on SOP number 390. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 56. The amendments are agreed to. The question now is that Clause 2 is amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Party votes.
Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
ACT New
1
Zealand.
vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 56. Clause 2 is amended, will stand part. The question now is that Clause 3 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote opposed.
Members, the ayes are 64, the noes are 56. Clause 3 will stand part. I will report this bill with amendment.
The House is resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Social Housing Reform, Housing Restructuring and Tenancy Matters Amendment Bill and reports it with amendment. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. This bill is set down for third reading forthwith. Honourable Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Social Housing, Housing Restructuring and Tenancy Matters Amendment Bill be now read a third time. Mr Speaker, this bill was introduced